This year I plan to do a bit of LPVO training. I've shot them somewhat here and there in the past, but I'm going to do more of it this year. Ben and I are attending a Kyle DeFore class as students later this year. I had Kyle on my podcast, Training Group Live for people not familiar, and I just liked the way Kyle talked, his mentality as far as training goes, all that kind of stuff. He seemed like a solid dude to me, and we have some mutual friends that speak highly of him. So anyway, I'm interested just to take one of his classes and see what it's like. Kyle is a fan of LPVOs, so I know he uses Night Force a lot, which, I don't know, it's a lot of money, but maybe an NX8 will be in the future someday, because I think that might be probably the other one to compare with. But I do have two different LPVOs currently that I've shot some and plan on training with this year. First one is a Leupold. This is a 1-6. The model, Patrol 6 HD. Have to make sure I don't mess that up. It's a 1-6. There's a couple things I like and a couple things I don't like. In comparison to everything else, one of my favorite things about this scope is the zoom lever. I like that it's just integrated in with the magnification ring. It's easy to get to, and it's not super big, cumbersome, or annoying. The scope's a 1-6. It's a second focal plane, which means the reticle does not change size when you change the magnification. This one is a CM02, maybe reticle. That's my best guess off my artistic brain. Might not be right. But it's more or less it's a circle with a dot in the middle and a ladder. So the ladder has numbers on it, but it's not mil based. It is, I think it's like BDC, so bullet drop compensating. I think it's calibrated for XM 193 55 grain, if I remember right. So I'll have to. It's got a 5200 zero on it now, and I remember checking it at distance, and the line's matching up. But I'll re-verify that and train with that at this year anyway. The only issue with that ladder, if you want to use it at distance, is you'll have to do it on max power because the distance between the lines, the reticle does not change when you adjust the magnification. So if the second line down is your 300 or 400 or whatever, 277 0, it's only going to be that on a specific power setting. So if the tree lines up for XM193, it'll have to be on max power to shoot that. It couldn't just be on whatever power I have because the holds won't match up, which is probably the main problem with second focal planes. The only other complaint with this scope is the illuminated reticle. It's got the single button system like what Leupold does with the Delta Point Pros, and it's just not bright enough. It's not super daylight bright, so I don't like the illuminated reticle, but the things I really like about it are the weight, good eye relief. It's just easy when I mount the gun. The reticle just shows up, and then it has a zero stop feature that I really, really like. I don't know what Leupold calls their brand, but I'll call it zero stop. Basically, zero it. There's little set screws. You take off the turret, set it back down to zero it out. And in the back, there's this little gray button you press. Pressing this allows the turret to move, because otherwise it won't. Then once I do pressing the button, I can turn the turret. So you can adjust it to whatever you want it to. Then I think you get 2 turns, 2 full revolutions, which is plenty. Then if I'm done to return it to 0, just turn it till it stops, and you'll see the button will click out. That's it. Now it won't turn again. That's back to 0. So I like that feature a lot, and I did shoot this at distance a bit, just bench shooting to make sure it was repeatable and that kind of stuff, and no issues. So the scope's been good to go. It's lightweight. It's in a Leupold mount, so I like this setup quite a bit, and I'm excited to shoot that more this year because I don't have that many rounds through it. The other one, I've shot some. A lot of people's favorites, the Vortex Razor. The 1-6 probably is the king for multi-gun PCSL style shooting. This one's a 1-10 just because if 6 is good, 10 is better. The downsides of this one over the 6, the eye relief is definitely more specific. So the 6, when you just throw it up, it's always there. This one, especially at the higher magnification, I think it's exit pupil. It's been a while since I did optics nerd stuff. But anyway, it's a bit more specific with your head position. I don't like, they have a scope zoom lever Vortex sells. I don't really like it because it comes out a long way. It's more bulky. It works fine, but it's just kind of annoying. I like the smaller, more compact feature of the Leupold. Other than that, This is a first focal plane, which means if you know your drop, whatever distance you have it zeroed at and where each one of the numbers or hashes is going to line up, that will be true regardless of what power setting you have. So the distance between the reticles not going to change based on your power. And they do, I think, a BDC, MOA, and mil. I want the mil, so that's what this one is. So this is, it works in the way that a regular scope, in my opinion, should. That way, if you just know your drops, if you're artistic, just make a little dope chart inside the scope cap. That way I know if I want to shoot 300, with the RC3, here's my adjustment. 300 meters, 1.4 is how much I got to come up. So anyway, I just have a chart that way that takes all the guesswork out of me. And I just zeroed this one at 5200, same zero with just 55 grain XM193 stuff. I'm sure at some point I'll get some kind of specialty ammunition or 62 or 68 or 75 grain stuff. But for now, I just shot 55 grain stuff, which shot fine. Surprisingly, this gun shoots minute of angle. It sounds like a flex. Well, it sounds like a dumb flex for people that shoot bolt guns. But this one does shoot right at a minute with, or maybe slightly under, with 55 grain PMC, which I thought was really, really good. With a bolt gun, nobody would care. It'd be time to replace the barrel. But for just these are both 16-inch BCM guns. Shooting at a minute with 55 grain PMC, I was really happy with that. Like I said, maybe slightly under, but somewhere in there. The scope itself, Razor 1-10. This is in an ADM mount. I really like their stuff. And yeah, the scope's very clear. Oh, the illuminated reticle on this one, it's got a much superior setup. For this one, it'll be locked until you pull out on the cap from the side. Then you can turn it wherever you want it. It's got, I think, 11 settings, 11 or maybe 12. And then an off in between them. So right now it's off. If I want to turn it on, I can just go down or up one setting. Now it's on. Press it to lock it. Or I can turn it back off, whatever. And the thing I like about this reticle is it's daylight bright. So it can be the middle of summer, full sun, no clouds, and the reticle is bright enough that you can see it. So that part is a big win for the Vortex. So anyway, those are the, for people that care about that stuff, that's the couple LPVOs I have that I'll be testing. Like I said, Night Force maybe will be in the cards at some point down the road. We'll see, but that's what I've got for now. 2 rifles, 2 LPVOs, and I am looking forward to shooting them this year. If you have questions, comments, anything I can help with, drop them below. LPVOs are a bit nuanced because everybody's eyes work a little bit different. What features, weight, all that kind of stuff people are looking for, but I think this is a good sampling of 2 of the top kind of manufacturers and scopes in the game anyway. So looking forward just to see what I can learn. Like, share, subscribe, I guess, that stuff. If you have questions, drop them below and I will try to answer them.